Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. I want you to remember something and to never forget this as long as you live. No matter what happens in your life, you always have a choice. You always have a choice. Satan will whisper in your ear, you don't have a choice. You've ruined everything. You'll never recover. You're never going to change. Things will never change for you. Your own mind will tell you you don't have a choice. You won't feel like you have a choice. And those closest to you will not encourage you to have a choice. But with God, you always have a choice. Everything is for a season. And you have a choice to choose how you will respond. David is writing a song here in 2 Samuel chapter 22. And it's amazing to me that David is still alive to write it. After all he has been through, betrayals, murder attempts against him, horrible sin, killing somebody, all kinds of things have happened to him. And yet here he is still standing, still going forward, still following God. It's amazing. After all he's been through, we don't go through half of what David has gone through. And yet he's still singing, he's still writing songs, he's still praying to God, and his faith is stronger than ever. So I want to listen today to David's song, 2 Samuel 22. We're going to look at verses 6 through 7. And it's going to give us a strategy for times of oppression and distress. Let's listen to 2 Samuel 22, 6 through 7. The cords of death coiled around me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress, I called to the Lord. I called out to my God. From his temple, he heard my voice. My cry came to his ears. The situation is dire, terrible. It reminds me of what Paul said in 2 Corinthians. We had the sentence of death upon ourselves. We felt like we could not go on anymore. That's how David felt. Do you ever feel like you could not go on? It's just too much? You have a choice. It's never too much with God. Now, the choices are several. You can give up. You can die, you can kill yourself, you can turn back, or as Job's wife advised, Job, curse God and die. Give in. I want to look at what David chooses to do and just break it down for you. There's going to be great advice and strategy for us. He says, in my distress, I called to the Lord. Let's look at that. In my distress. So the strategy is not to avoid distress. Distress will come in life. In this world you will have tribulation, but Jesus has overcome the world. So the strategy is not to avoid distress, but it's what you do in the distress. So it's in my. So my distress is my distress. No one's going to understand my distress. No one's going to be able to tell me what to do. They may have gone through something. I may learn something from listening to them, but no one can understand what you are going through. It's your distress. And distress is distress. You can't call it anything else. So we admit, I'm in distress. In my distress. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you are in distress? David had a choice. You and I have a choice. Here's what David did. I called to the Lord. Again, I. Do you have people pray for you? You know, your mother pray for you, your grandmother pray for you, your wife, your husband. You can have a whole church pray for you. But David said, I called to the Lord. You have to get to the point where you just cry out to God. Cry out to God. Call him. It says, I called to the Lord. You can call the doctor. You can call a friend and tell a friend. But listen, that's not going to help you. Call to the Lord. Call to the Lord. That's the choice to make. In your distress, call to the Lord. That's the strategy I want to apply when times of oppression and distress come. So have a great weekend, and I will see you again on Monday.